Hello, I'm Noel, this is Antonia from Boxtail Soup Theatre Company, and this is another one of our Boxtail Scoops. Nice. It's going to be a fairly short one this week because we are back in rehearsals. So we don't have any more puppets or more stuff to have made that we're going to show you or anything like that. Sorry, we're both quite tired, so I'm not sure I'm going to be the most eloquent I've ever been. We don't have any new stuff to show you that we've actually built because we've been working on the show this week.
But we thought it might be interesting to sort of give a little idea of how we work at this stage in the process. So obviously, as we mentioned before, we've had to rejig things a little bit from what we might do normally. We might have we'd have 3 consecutive rehearsal weeks, during which in the evenings and at the weekends, Noel and I would sort of be frantically finishing off bits of set and making extra bits that we needed or whatever. This year's had to be different, obviously, because of everything that's going on. So we had our R&D week back in whenever that was, and then we've got this week of rehearsals, then we've got 2 weeks of making, and then we've got the production week at the Evermound Theatre. So we had done an initial sort of what we like to call a rough sketch of the show, really, in the R&D week.
That was very much a kind of ideas week, wasn't it?
It was, yes. It was sort of trying to solve problems so that when we got to this week, we'd at least got one decent idea for each of the major problems we reached.
And what we mean by that is that if you think of the story of A Christmas Carol, then obviously there are numerous things that are difficult to represent.
For example, particularly if you've only got 2 people, I think, which was an extra added difficulty / fun challenge that we had to figure out because we had originally conceived the show and we wrote it for 3 people. So there are scenes where, if you think about the Cratchit family, for example, there are many of them, and it's kind of important that there are many of them, because otherwise you lose the point that they are this loving, wonderful family, but who have very little except for each other, really. Yeah. And so if you cut them all down to 2 parents and 1 kid, Tiny Tim, you're sort of losing that sense of the big family, big loving family.
You've also got numerous ghosts that appear. You've got,
flying out of windows,
various different locations that they have to visit. So all of those problems, all of those challenges have to be have some first idea or some first response to them, and that's really what we came up with in that first week, wasn't it?
So then this week, what's been nice is that we've started back at the beginning again, which is always a nice place to start, as is in the Sound of Music. And we've gone through the show. We're sort of, I would say, 2/3 of the way through now, and in the sort of second, what we like to call, it's like the penning in of it. So we've gone over the ideas that we came up with, and for the most part we've kept them. It's just that we're then refining them. So where we might have said, right, well, we think Scrooge's office looks like this, and we've given ourselves a rough way of how we get to that picture. This week then is about going, okay, let's make that look nice. Let's finesse that journey into the office so that for an audience watching it, it doesn't look like we're furniture moving.
Yeah, and that's really crucial. I think if you've seen any of our shows, then you'll know that we don't leave the stage, and generally there's only 2 or 3 people in it. So everybody is constantly busy because there's always something, the next thing to be done, the next puppet to be picked up, the next piece of set to be moved. And because it's all visible, because we don't leave the stage, and because you can see everything that's happening, it all has to look right. It all has to look, it has to create the right atmosphere. It has to be beautiful if that's what it needs to be. And it has to be carefully choreographed. So the other thing that we're trying to do this week is go through all of that and make sure that we're not just moving furniture, that each bit of it, we know, why is this moving here? At what point do you pick this up?
And why is one of us moving it and not the other? Or why are both of us moving something together at this moment? And we start to add music and sound as well, which is really important. Again, if you've seen our shows, you'll know how much we use music as a real, the things are almost through scored, really. And we use the music very much in a dance fashion. So the scene changes become choreographed in a dance-like way, actually.
They're hitting particular beats of the music, and that might change the timing of how you're actually moving something, because you're listening and going, okay, we can we can do this a little slower, a little faster.
And obviously it goes without saying, I think, at this point that we're rehearsing in a smaller space than we would be performing in. So when we get into the larger space, we're very aware that the timings of these things are going to be fluid. But what's quite nice is that at the moment where we're almost bashing into each other constantly, we know that when we've got a bit more room, that transition is going to be a lot easier. There's also picking up puppets, putting down puppets, making sure that the audience don't get fatigued with the same thing happening over and over. When you're multi-rolling, as we obviously are going to be hugely for this show, what we don't want is for the audience to be like, oh, not again. They're not taking off that costume and putting it on again, or they're not having to grab that puppet, put it down and think again.
We don't have to wait again while they swap this thing over.
We try to make sure that each time those things happen, they are different and they are appropriate for the moment that they're representing. We're trying to bring in puppets in different ways. Like we said before, I think with the R&D that was important to us. That when puppets appear, it's not just, oh, here's another puppet. It's that, oh, they're doing something different with this idea of puppetry now, that enhances this moment particularly and is appropriate for that particular moment. So it's a lot of wrangling with things, but at least what has been really lovely this week, I think, is that we have been very confident with what we found in the R&D week, and it was so useful to have that groundwork done, because it's meant that we really can progress relatively quickly through the show and start to make it really hold together and hang together as a whole.
Yeah. And it's exciting. It's exciting to see the things start to take shape and start to make sense and feel like, yes, we can do this particular little trick, or we can have 3 puppets alive on stage at this one time if we do this and this. So yeah, it's really it builds the excitement of getting closer and closer to that first performance.
Definitely.
And the nervousness.
Yes, absolutely. And we are definitely tired. But that's good. We should be. If we weren't, I'd be worried. So that's it really, I think, for this week. We're going to carry on today, and we've got tomorrow as well. And then next week, like I said, we'll be back into to making again and finishing off everything that we've started.
Yeah, by the end of this week, we're hoping that we've got a shape that we can run through for the whole show, and then we'll go back to...
Yeah, and add the kind of icing sugar dusting to the whole thing. So yeah, it's all good.
So as ever, thank you very much for watching. I hope that provides some little insight into what it is that we're doing this week. And if you've enjoyed it, please do leave us a comment or hit the like button or subscribe to our videos. That would be fantastic. Thanks for watching.